In the Producer's Perspective video series, we've got a video called There Is No Competition, which basically looks at the 3 reasons there is no competition for screenwriters whatsoever. Now, originally that video was going to have 4 reasons, but I decided to take the 4th reason out and give it its own video, largely because it's kind of the pragmatic reason why there really is no competition for screenwriters. And that reason is this: everyone else out there will quit before they succeed. See, film is a collaborative medium. We're going to get a bunch of people together and collaboratively we're going to make a film. Well, that's a big logistics challenge. There's a lot of creative minds that you want their creativity involved, but we need some way to keep everybody on target. So we need a blueprint. And the screenplay is the blueprint for that production process. Screenplays don't really have any other value in the world. You don't buy unproduced screenplays on Amazon. Screenplays only exist to be turned into a movie. So as a screenwriter, you kind of only have one of 2 possible outcomes. Either you're going to succeed, you're going to sell your script or watch it get made into a movie, or you're going to quit at some point along the way. Now, everybody's got an idea for a movie, but how many people will actually go all the way until they make that happen? About 10 years ago, I used to run these weekend screenwriting workshops in Sydney, and as the years went on, I started to notice a disturbing trend. These were little workshops. They had like 15 people in them, very interactive. We'd spend a whole weekend talking about everything you need to know about screenwriting, and then on Monday, you were supposed to go off and write your screenplay. Now, everybody was very enthusiastic in these workshops, but over time, I started to realize I wasn't hearing from these people ever again. Like, they just disappeared. Nobody ever contacted me after the workshop was over. Ever. And I became a little disturbed by this. You know, I was teaching people to try to develop projects to produce, and nobody contacting me afterwards is a huge fall-off rate. And so in this one workshop, I sort of said, you know, statistically, I'm only going to hear from 2 of you ever again. And I'll never forget this woman off to the side. She raises her hand and she says, I want to know who the other one is. And we all sort of laughed. And then I never heard from her again. You know, it is so incredibly frustrating to, as a producer, looking for material at the time, to watch all these writers just fall away, or as a teacher pouring all this energy out and seeing what seemed to be very enthusiastic faces. It's very frustrating to watch people quit, and I became kind of obsessed with this phenomenon, and I started calling it the 5 of the 5. Basically, for every 100 people who have an idea for a screenplay, only 5 will actually follow through and write a script. Now, out of 100 of these people who write the script, only 5 will refine their script until they have a legitimately production-ready screenplay. Now, out of 100 people who create production-ready screenplays, only 5 will push and persist until they make a deal, either for this project or some other project that comes after this. That's 99% of people who will quit at some point along the way. Now, here's the problem. Statistically, that means that 99% of the people watching this video right now will quit at some point along the way. Statistically, that means you. I don't want you to quit, so let's think about this. Like, let's try to see what we can do to tackle this problem head on. What can I do? Well, let's ask you. When will you quit? When in the process will you quit? Will you pour your heart and soul into a project for a year or 2 years, and then at some point along the way you find the ideal producer, you connect with that producer, you get it into their hands, and they reject you? Will you quit? Or what if you try to knock on all the doors and none of the doors will even open? Nobody will even read your script. What do you do then? Do you quit? Or what if you send your script out for feedback amongst your friends and colleagues and they hate it? They give you negative feedback. What do? Do you quit? Or when you're in the middle of a rewrite, you've written your first draft or 10th draft, and you know it's not working, but you don't know how to fix it. What do? Do you quit? Or maybe it's before then, when you have the idea and you're writing it out onto the page. For some reason, it's perfect up here, but as you get it onto the page, it starts to kind of suck. Do you quit? Or maybe you've got an idea for a movie, you can't figure out how to turn that into a compelling screen story. Or maybe you've got many ideas and you don't know which one to choose. Or you know what? Maybe it's way before any of that stuff. Maybe it's when you first have an idea for a screenplay, for a movie. But you look in the mirror and you think to yourself, who are you kidding? You couldn't do that. You're not good enough for that. Do you quit before you even start? Producers need writers who will go all the way. If you go all the way, we know that you have overcome challenges and obstacles along the way. We know that you've tried and you failed and you got up and you tried again. We know that you will have a sense of what works and what doesn't and what a real world production environment will need, that flexibility. We know, in short, that you will have developed professional level skills if you go all the way. Most writers will read a few blogs on the internet. Maybe they'll read a couple of books or do a couple of screenwriting courses. They'll bang out their first script, or maybe they'll take care in writing their second script. But at some point along the way, they will hit a roadblock. The 5 of the 5 are the ones who push through those roadblocks to succeed. Everyone else will quit. Are you in the 5 of the 5? You can't say you are. You can only prove you are. So I ask you again, when will you quit? At what point in the process will you quit? And if you're saying, as I hope you're saying right now, screw this guy, I'm not going to quit, I'm never going to quit, then you need to do something right this minute before you move on, before you do anything else in your life. Pause this video if you have to, but here's what you have to do. You have to make a commitment. You have to physically write down a commitment to follow through and put it somewhere where you can see it. You need to commit to this because writing is a craft. It's a very challenging craft. It takes time and effort to get good at. You wouldn't expect to pull a golf club out and start hitting some golf balls for the very first time and then a month later expect to be touring with Tiger Woods. But yet that's the way people think about screenwriting. Writing is a craft. It takes daily action and it takes effort to get good at and to improve every step of the way. Are you in the 5 of the 5? Will you continue to move forward? If so, you need to make a commitment. You must. And producers need you to. They need you to go all the way. Producers need screenplays. As long as movies are made, we always will. We need something to make. You have stories inside you only you can tell. Will you quit or will you commit? I really hope that you'll make that commitment and you'll follow through on it every single day because you can do this. I know you can do this. And I hope you'll join me next time. We'll see you then.